years ago.
Oh wow, good time to get out.
Yeah, he
Uh,
he lived. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
sorry,
Guys, all set?
David is good. Yep.
Well, are we here?
There we are.
Here.
All right, everybody can hear me. I think my mic's working this time. So we should be good to go. Okay, I'll kick it off. Want to say hi to everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is our second Campfire Chat. During our first chat, we talked to our CTO, Rusty here, who went into some detail regarding the technology and some of the innovation behind Next Horizon. If you couldn't make it to the first chat and you want to catch up on what you missed, the VOD for that is on our YouTube channel, so you can check it out there. This weekend, we're going to be discussing a little bit of lore and some game mechanics and a bit of information regarding the jobs aspects in Next Horizon. And to talk us through this is the MMJP CEO, Garthos. We have our CTO, Rusty, here again. And we're also joined by one of our community members, Eric, who is going to be sitting in with us, ask some questions, just to kind of get more of a general, bigger picture of Next Horizon. And additionally, if there's anybody in the chat who has some questions, feel free to type them in there, and we'll get to those as we can in between any lulls or anything like that. So
Thank you, David.
Yeah,
it's definitely great to be back here. Thank you, Rusty and Eric, for also joining us again this week. Looking forward to this. But welcome again, everyone.
Yeah, I've been dreading this. This is no, I love this. I love this, but I'm so scared. Sorry, that came out wrong. I'm excited to do this, but I'm so scared.
This is the worst day of my life.
Don't be scared. It'll be fine.
Yeah, cool.
All right,
and I'm so glad, by the way, that Eric could join us. Thank you. We totally put him on the spot. We were like, dude, it would be awesome to have you on. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Glad to be a part.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. And this is something we hope to have more community members join us throughout the weeks as we do this series. So if you're out there and you're interested in joining us one day, feel free to message us on Discord. So as David mentioned, we are going to do a little bit more focus on Next Horizon, our upcoming game. Talk a little bit about some of the lore and kind of just one little segment of that. We don't want to give away too much yet. A couple of the game mechanics that we're highlighting in our series on Twitter, being the jobs, and then some of the game mechanics around the player resources and currencies. So first, I think those of you who are familiar with our site have visited and seen the Andromeda Colonization Expedition, or ACE as it's called, and watched our little video there, their little public service announcement. And it just wanted to give a little backstory about ACE. They are a pioneering organization, and their goal is to really extend humanity and extend the possibility of what humans can do. And that's why they've kind of made the tech and the travel possibility a reality for the members that want to join. Go ahead, Rusty.
No, I just sorry, I wanted to interrupt you.
Okay.
I wanted to ask about extending humanity. Like, so talk to me more about extending humanity. Like, what does that mean?
Well, I mean, you look at where we are as a society today, and the kind of the consumption of the resources that we have on Earth, and what that means for future generations, and it's kind of an effort to future-proof against ourselves and really provide the ability to extend, I guess, human existence beyond where we are.
Find, like they need to, we're out, or we're gonna run out, and
exactly,
we need to expand, or else
it's a safety net for humanity. Like, what happens, if all of a sudden, people in power now decide to cause a nuclear war, or Armageddon type effects that hit our planet. This is our safety net to ensure the existence of humanity long beyond Earth and the Milky Way galaxy.
All right, that makes sense to me. Sorry.
And aside from just kind of a safety net, it's also the possibility of what humans can do, and figuring out what else is out there, discoveries. There might be new human-changing discoveries that are out there, and that's kind of what this is opening up the possibility for, of really exploring the unknown. So one of the kind of core principles of ACE is they do believe in sharing their technology and their advancements for the benefit of all humanity, and they want to really help establish kind of a free trade system in this new galaxy, and build up industry and prosperity and the growth of the human species, so that, you know, if something unfortunate happens, and life as it's known in the Milky Way, and Earth ceases to exist, there's still options out there for humanity uh, to still exist.
Talking about free trade, what so as we've gone out and we've started to explore the galaxy, we've started to expand our boundaries.
Right.
What barriers to free trade are we running into? Why does ACE need
Good question. So I don't want to give too much away here, but ACE is not the only organization that has access to this technology. There are going to be other groups, factions, and life forms that have the ability to exist in this galaxy that might cause some issues in doing that. And that'll get into some of the gameplay stuff and some of the story behind what happens as you're participating in the game. So we'll go into more of that later, but not everybody has the best intent in mind, and looking to kind of achieve the same thing. So you'll have to be leery of that, and watch out for others that might have more nefarious intentions.
Yeah, I don't think ACE necessarily has a monopoly on
Not at all.
space exploration. And
Yep.
Yeah.
there's things lurking in the darkness, right? That always intrigues me, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
when I'm playing a game, when there's the possibility that you'll come across something that is unexpected. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like we do every day in real life. There's always the unexpected.
I see aliens all the time. You know?
Yeah.
I'll just be walking around and, like, you know, the lights will be off and, like, there'll be some alien there trying to block my free trade. It happens all the time.
Right? So you're very familiar with it.
Yeah.
This will be common, and just another day in the park for you.
It's awesome.
Any other questions about that as far as the backstory goes, Eric? Does that
Well,
all
yeah,
jive?
I actually do. So you have, I hear the word colonization,
Mm-hmm.
okay, but also I hear that the game is based around fleet management. So
Right.
are you actually colonizing with the ships, or are you colonizing with also a population of people?
So good question. So that's one of the components that we'll have is as you're doing exploration type of activities in the game, there is the possibility that you run across a rare inhabitable planet. And when you do that, you as a player will have the choice to either have your crew that discovered it, or one of your crews go and colonize that facility, which means they'll give up their role as a member of your fleet, and they'll begin colonizing the planet and building that out. Or you could say, hey, I don't want to do this right now, but I want to turn it over to the ACE colonization expedition to find somebody who is willing to do that, and that'll kind of open that up to the public to bid at taking a stab at colonizing that planet, and doing their improvements on that planet.
Okay, all right.
And there's something interesting about there's so many levels. I love that question. There's so many levels I want to branch off of there, but I want to start in one place.
All right.
So planets. I think that it's awesome because there's an aspect of that ties into what we spoke about last week with ownership, right? When you discover something, there's the potential to gain ownership and to build on that. So there becomes a real world sort of anchoring to that discovery, like a real world benefit, because what you've discovered is sort of a real it's in this virtual world, but it's
an asset.
It's an asset.
It is an asset. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And you gain resources, and well, we'll go into some of that later. But
and that's one of the things we talk about. And as I go into some of the game mechanics, we'll talk a little bit more about what those planets as an asset mean to the owner, as well as the people that want to visit that planet.
The other thing I want to talk about a little bit is your fleet, and this is actually more of a question, and building on the question that Eric asked, is your fleet predominantly there for the purpose of exploring, or is it there for the purpose of protecting, and or both, or
It's
what?
gonna need to do both. That's kind of your responsibility as your fleet commander to make sure that you can grow your fleet and prosper, but also you do need to protect your fleet, and your there will be members of your fleet that are there to help protect and make sure that you are not taken advantage of by others that you might come across.
Which does go into the little series that we've been doing on Twitter, going into ships. How there's different right now 3 different types of ships that
Right.
can either are good for speed and exploring, some that are good offensively, and others that are good defensively.
Right. There's 3 specializations when it comes to the ships, and
That's the
they
word.
will,
Yes.
and it's whether your specialization is weapons, whether the specialization is your shields and defensive capabilities, or it's speed and how fast you can maneuver and travel, and that's what kind of classifies those 3.
I love that because it not only now do you have an asset that you care about, because it has value, it has meaning, but now there's stakes.
Yes.
And
And we all love steak.
we all love steak. So yeah.
Did I stump you there?
Cool. Sorry, that's all I had. I just thought that was cool.
Well, I'd like to ask on the you speak about protection that you need to give your colony. So is that the protection from something that other fleets can do to you, or are you talking about AI generated threats?
I don't want to go too deep into that yet, but I would say at least at a minimum, you need to protect yourself from the AI and the environment. So there could be a situation where you find a planet that is potentially inhabitable, but let's say it's got a high level of radiation. So one of the things that you would look to do on your planet is install some type of protection against that. So it's not always just, hey, my ship has to be able to defend, but I can do things to improve my planet to increase the ability to resist that radiation. So I might install a component or a factory or whatever else, some type of facility on my planet that reduces the radiation exposure to my ships and the people on the planet. So that would be one example of a planetary improvement that you would look to gain if you have that potential risk at your planet.
Okay.
Is this something sort of like you think of like SimCity, where like you build
Yeah.
a city, but then like bad things can happen,
Absolutely.
right? And so some of the skill comes in doing what you need to do to prepare your city so that you can survive the bad things, or being able to recover from them quickly. Yeah, so the environment is out to get you.
Yeah, and it may not all, be something that you visually see like that, but it'll be more generalized. This kind of is a simulator as opposed to a first person type game.
Yep. I think at least, yeah, it's important to note there's some, like, if you know the dungeon crawlers, right? Where it's like
Yep.
is
Yeah.
that the right word?
Yeah.
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 Where it's like a text-based game. And so yeah, the store, the lore, the activity, the events are there, but we're not necessarily for this game going to be rendering all of these events like you would in SimCity
Exactly.
in
It's a
real
little
time.
more zoomed out. Yeah.
Yep. Um
So I think that's
Although we
probably a
have
good
the
thing.
capability to potentially add some more richness to the experience later, but yeah.
Absolutely. Like we'll see where the game goes. We definitely want to leave the door open for those possibilities. So I think this is probably a good time to talk about some of those resources and stuff, and there's some things that will tie in here as we were talking about planets, and I wanted to kind of talk about the player resources game mechanic, and there's 2 main currencies in the game. The primary currency uh, is deuterium. It's going to be DTRM, and that's the standard galactic currency for this galaxy. It'll probably be earned by doing jobs. You'll send your one of your ships in your fleet out to do a job, and you'll earn like an hourly rate for doing that job. And there's basically 3 levels of jobs that we'll discuss in the next segment. But you can also earn deuterium through other means, such as exploration. If you come across a cache of deuterium that's out there, or even events where maybe there's some type of reward that you could earn from doing an event. Like, there's a stranded ship that needs help, and you send your one of your ships out there to rescue it, and there's a reward of deuterium, or bring back, go retrieve some rare find that you find through exploration and bring that back to Ace for some type of reward. So those are kind of the ways and the methods in which you'll earn deuterium. The other commodity that is very valuable in the system is called andromedite. These are crystals that exist only in this galaxy, and they are very rare material. And those will be used to purchase some of your more valuable things in game, such as items and services. This could include upgrades to your command center, your planetary upgrades that we talked about earlier. When you have the planet and you want to install some of these facilities, the andromedite is crystals are what you'll use to purchase those and to build those. And then there will be things that you can also use andromedite for, as far as emergency ship maintenance and high risk tasks that you may come across within the gameplay. And I don't want to go too deep into that and give away too much, but that just wanted to provide some examples of how you might spend that currency.
So that's interesting to me, because a couple things. First of all, we talk about your ship being on task. We talked a little bit last week about resource management, right? What does it mean if my ship's on task? There's a decision to be made there. There's strategy involved. If my ship's on task, can I pull it for something else? Can I trade it? Right? Like what I'm making decisions with my ship's time and commitment.
Yeah. So
right?
and that's exactly. So when you choose to send a ship out, like it's basically, considered disposed. Not disposed as in you don't get it back, but it's on a task for that time period. You've kind of made that decision and that commitment that you're going to complete this activity before you can do something else with it. That means either sending it for another, task in the game, or transferring it. If you want to transfer it to the blockchain and transact that in some way. So it is going to be locked for that window of time that you've committed to doing whatever activity it is.
Right. So there's consequences there, and then also on the other side of it, as you accumulate the deuterium or these andromedite crystals, you know what I mean. You have to be careful in planning how you spend that.
Absolutely.
Just as you would, in maybe a more higher paced game where you have to keep track of your mana or your health, your power, anything like that. This is a resource that you accumulate at a certain rate based off the resources you have, and you need to be careful to make sure that you're spending it wisely.
Yes, it is a consumable resource. So yeah, you will have not a finite amount of it, but a finite that you can generate over a specific time period,
Right.
and based on your decisions, and then the choices you make on how to spend that will definitely impact the other things that you can do within the game. Any other questions? Comments?
Yeah, you mentioned what the ADRM can be used to purchase on, but what about the DTRM? What value does it have to what you could purchase with that?
DTRM will mainly be used to think of it as kind of like payment for fuel. So when you want to send your ships to do an exploration, DTRM will be used to kind of pay for that trip to go explore or to do an event. It's kind of like you're buying a ticket or your fuel to perform that action. Additionally, as you go to improve your individual ships, installing some of the things that we've discussed in our series on Twitter with the gameplay mechanics, your retrofit. So imagine, your ship comes back, you found these cool things that you can modify your ship with. You've got to pay somebody to install those in your ship, and the deuterium will be used to pay for that service of installing them in your ship.
Okay, I got you. And then do you ever get to a point where you can actually find the rare ADRM and maybe hoard that to trade with, to do things like that? Or can you earn so much deuterium that you can use that to buy the other?
Yeah, so that's one of the cool mechanics of being on the blockchain, is you'll be able to take, a portion of your DTRM or ADRM and convert that into an NFT to transact on the blockchain. So if you wanted to do, hey, I've got an extra DTRM and I really need ADRM for this other cost or service that I want to do in game, and you could look at trading that on the blockchain or selling it and then buying the other one that you're in need of. So absolutely, they're transactable assets.
There's some interesting stuff there. I mean, think about that, right? Like, if you've accumulated the ability to pull deuterium at large scale, and there's other people who need some of that deuterium, right? So
Yeah.
there's an interesting aspect to that. There could potentially be value to your ability, increasing your ability to pull in deuterium, right? At a large scale, and then hoarding, Andromedite as well. There may be you may want to hold on to that Andromedite because there may be times where where it's better for you to be holding it, and maybe there's times where it's not as it's better to be selling it. So yeah, there's a whole other level there in terms of like it's not just about your ability to
Sorry
get
about that.
things.
My
It's
ISP went down for a second there. I think I'm back now. Can you hear me?
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I was expecting you to comment on some of the things I said, but um, there's this whole level of it's not just about getting deuterium or getting Andromedite, but increasing your ability to get it, right? Um,
Exactly.
and
And,
then
and
yeah, and then
what I was
potentially
saying is that'll influence your choices. Like, say, I saw that we had someone here in our chat that wanted to focus on deuterium generation, so they could make choices to install retrofits into their ship that increase their yield when doing jobs or events that determine how much deuterium they're going to earn. So they can basically make their ships more efficient at those activities, so they can earn more deuterium or more ADRM or higher quality retrofits that they can find. So that's where you get some of those mechanics that allow you to choose what you want to focus on and kind of where you want to put your efforts with regards to your fleet and specialization.
And being
Okay.
able to make those decisions, I feel, will make it'll form kind of an organic marketplace, an organic,
Absolutely.
an organic marketplace where, depending on what people want to do, is going to influence the game as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
One more
I think
question.
is very interesting. Go ahead, yeah, Eric.
Sorry, not used to that delay. Apologize. Um, so with that, is that going to be like a fixed value on both, or will be any kind of variable that it'll adjust? Like, hey, there's so much of one that the value's not so high, and is it going to be that detailed?
It's possible. So I mean, it's really going to depend on what the other players in the game are doing. Like if everybody is focusing on earning deuterium, obviously the value of that supply and demand will determine what it's worth versus the other currency or worth versus other items.
Hmm.
So a lot
Okay.
of those choices come down to the player base and how they want to really structure their fleet. So that kind of leads us to the jobs. So there's basically three types of jobs where you can earn deuterium. For everyone, there's going to be the basic job that is provided by by ACE, which is probably the lowest yield per hour of deuterium, but it's a steady one and it's unlimited as far as how many ships you could send to perform this job. Now, there are other options as far as deuterium earning possibilities with regards to events. You could discover an event that provides deuterium if you participate in that event. And these are limited time, limited participation events. So let's say an example of this from a story perspective is, like I referenced earlier, there's a stranded ship or a ship that's in distress, and there's an opening for 5 ships to go and try to rescue that, and from whatever circumstance it is, whether it's something that's naturally occurring, like a space anomaly, a black hole, whatever else, or if it's enemy forces that are trying to capture or destroy that ship. So they would go and participate in that event, and there would be a reward for doing so. It could be ADRM, it could be the retrofits that I spoke about, or even or DTRM. So there's different types of rewards for different activities.
Okay.
And then the highest yield, as far as jobs go and things that you can send your ship to do, will be from the planetary jobs that are available. So once someone discovers a planet, each planet will have a specific number of job slots that are available, and they may need help, defending the planet. So they may be looking for ships that have higher weapon stat to do that, and that will provide basically a pay in DTRM for that service that they're providing. But there will be limited numbers of those slots available, and they will typically have some type of requirement for your fleet ships to be able to participate there.
we talked about a little bit about those planetary jobs, and I don't know if this has changed, or if there's something we can talk about yet. But I'm wondering, I might save this question. Save this question. I have questions about that.
You can ask.
Yeah.
I can tell you if it's something I don't want to answer yet.
I feel like if I ask it, you'll answer it. but it's based off of maybe some old knowledge that I have on earlier designs. So,
Is this about the not the tax, but the revenue sharing for the planetary owner?
yeah, because I think that's extremely interesting.
Yeah, go ahead. I
Yeah.
don't mind talking about that.
Well, yeah. So I guess if you own a planetary plot or whatever, if you own a planet, not a planet, but if you have
Colonize the
access to
planet.
jobs on the planet, right?
Mhm.
Um, are you the only one? Can you share those?
Yeah, so
And
what happens is when someone discovers a planet, let's say that there will be 10 job slots available at the planet you discover that are available to the public, and you want to attract people to come and do those jobs for you. And the reason why is because as the planet owner, you get a commission or a percentage of all the deuterium that's earned there. So uh, these are just made up numbers, but let's say a planetary job generates 1,000 deuterium per hour for everybody working at that. The planet owner would get 10% of that earned deuterium from each of those people performing that job. So you get that passive income by owning the planet.
so
Uh,
and
Go ahead.
just imagine discovering a planet with some sort of lucrative job on it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, like that could be a thing.
And because the planets have the highest yield for your time spent, they are going to be very attractive for people to go and do those jobs because they're going to want to basically maximize uh, their profit for the time spent. So, especially when you have people that, once there are multiple planets out there that have these jobs available, you're going to be competing to draw people to your planet to perform these jobs so that you can earn your commission or your tax on those jobs that are being carried out on your planet.
And can you deplete a planet of resources?
Uh, no, we don't have. It's not like it's a finite amount of resources. You basically have things that you want to have people do that encourages them, but that supply is intended to be unlimited right now. Aside from there is a cap number of jobs available to do that.
Okay.
Definitely something that like that's interesting to think about though, right? Like for the future, that might be something that we could consider. I don't know, but yeah, I think for right now that's not planned, but that is an interesting dynamic that you could look at and see how that.
Absolutely,
Um, but yeah,
great question though. I like that one. So yeah, but that being said, planets are going to be very valuable. These will be some of the most sought after assets in the game, and they're going to be fairly rare. Like I wouldn't expect to see a lot of them out there, but obviously over time, the possibility of more being discovered will happen. But people are definitely going to want these, and uh, for good reason.
looking at the chat, we've got some fun comments there. Fun comments
Yeah,
there. Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
gonna be. Yeah, I like it. um,
uh, anybody in chat have any questions? Feel free to type those out, and I'd be glad to field some of those.
no, nothing so far. Let's see. I think we've covered. Uh, yeah. What else we got today? Or is that? I mean, is this? I think today was probably going to be a little shorter than next times or the
Yep.
last times. But yeah, what else we got, Russ, on the
Those are the
docket?
main points that I wanted to cover today, and I want people to tune in because we're gonna, kind of explore each of the aspects and, you know, mechanics of the game as we do this series, and give them a little tidbits. I don't want the videos to be too long so that they're a little more digestible for people who go back and watch the VODs. So
Yeah.
if you do have any other questions after you watch the video, please feel free to join our Discord, post questions there, and we're always around communicating with the community there. That was kind of
We,
a bit redundant, but
we,
yeah, we welcome you to stop by and chat with us.
we
Any
always
questions?
wave. A lot of us we're heads down right now. We're all trying to crank this out as fast as we can. So, like I'm on software, so a lot of times I'll be heads down, but I'll pop in, say hey in the morning. Maybe we'll do some live streams. I like live streaming because I think it's
Oh,
fun. Yeah.
I don't know. I think we posted the other day. We did watch the SpaceX launch the other day. David hosted that for us. It
That
was
was
really
fun.
interesting to watch. I'm
Yeah.
glad that we had a couple people join us for that. But that was
Yeah.
uh, quite interesting to watch that take place.
Yeah, and we're looking into doing more of that on the Discord, some game nights, some movie nights, and just kind of get
Yeah.
as many people
Our
involved
community.
and socializing and everybody getting to know each other because eventually.
There definitely will be a community aspect to this game, so getting to know your
Yes.
fellow players early and establishing some of those relationships is not a bad idea.
Maybe some alliances in case you
Oh
need
yeah,
something down the road.
Right.
yep. Missions.
Yeah. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, thank you, Russ, for going into all of that, and thanks to Rusty and Eric for joining us and asking them questions, helping to get a fuller picture, more complete picture of what's going on.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you to everybody in the chat, Super Sias who followed a couple minutes ago. We thank you for that, and we'll be back. We're planning on being back in 2 weeks. We
2
do
weeks.
it. Yeah, every other Saturday. We'll be discussing some more things for Next Horizon and what players can kind of expect from the game.
Yep. And
So
if there's something you want us to specifically talk about, especially as the series goes on, feel free to drop us comments in Discord and let us know what you want to hear about.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you
Thanks,
guys. Enjoy the rest
Thank
of
you
your
all.
weekend.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Rusty.
Eric, thank you again for joining us, man.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
And,
All right.
Yeah, Russ. Dave,
Enjoy your weekend.
Bye.
All right. Later, fellas. Bye.